Welcome to how to use Facebook ads to boost the sales of any business with me, Liz Melville. It's great to have you here. Now, tell me, get that hand in the air if you want to stand out against the competition and keep your business thriving even during these difficult times. And I want you to say yes again, get that hand back in the air. If you want to find the kind of people who love your business, who love your brand, and who are a perfect fit for what you do and what you sell, and you want to find them using Facebook ads. Because you are here at the absolute perfect time. Why? Because we are seeing a absolute boom happening in terms of online sales, particularly for entrepreneurs and businesses who are tapping into the potential of Facebook ads to get those sales. And if you look at June alone, right in the middle of the pandemic, there was an increase of 76% in terms of online sales. Now, a lot of that has been driven by bricks and mortar businesses having to go online to survive and to sell what they do. So we're seeing a huge shift of people going online and using Facebook ads to reach their audience. So this really is the perfect time for you to take advantage of what Facebook ads can do for your business. So let me tell you a little bit more about me and why I am talking to you today. So I am Liz Melville and I've been a Facebook ads strategist for several years now. And I'm very privileged to work with some of the biggest names in the online space, managing hundreds of thousands of dollars and pounds in ad spend every month. And that spend generates millions of dollars and pounds in revenue for those businesses. So I've learned a thing or two in doing that and gaining the experience and seeing what works and what doesn't with Facebook ads. And the one thing I can tell you is the difference between entrepreneurs and businesses that are struggling to use Facebook ads to get a return and those that are seeing exponential growth using Facebook ads is down to the thing I'm going to talk to you about today. Because I want to kind of look at where we are with Facebook ads. And Facebook ads have changed. They've changed considerably in the last few years. If we go back just 2 or 3 years, they were much less technical. It was much easier to go into Ads Manager or just to boost a post and get your ads seen, get posts on your page seen as well. But there's a lot more going on now, and Facebook have developed the platform. It's much more sophisticated. And as I say, with that comes more technical knowledge required. So we're past the point where to get results from Facebook ads, you can just dive in there blindly. You need to have a strategy and you need to have a working knowledge of Facebook ads to really get the best results. Now, I also want to just look at what's happened with Facebook ads during the pandemic itself, because we've seen a lot of shifts. So what's happened is 30 to 50% more people are on social media. Why? Well, because as we've gone through quarantine, as we've gone through social distancing, and more people are at home working from home, they've turned to social media and to the networks to get connection, to reach out beyond the four walls of their home and to talk to their friends, to their family, to be amused, to be entertained, to be educated, to be informed. It's all happening on social media, so more people are on there than ever before. And at the same time, since March this year, more advertisers are cutting back on what they're spending on ads. So ad costs have actually gone down 30 to 60% less than they were in February this year. We've seen a reduction in costs most of the time than we saw earlier this year. And that's because there's less competition. And when you advertise, if there's fewer advertisers competing to put their ads in front of audiences, costs go down. And what that does is it creates a massive opportunity for you to serve your audience, use Facebook ads to be seen, because your competitors may well have cut back. And especially in times of pandemic, when, the purse strings are tight, we're all looking to make wise investments with our money. Facebook ads provide a great opportunity to not be overtly selling and to use ads in a very cost-effective way without spending vast amounts of money, but to have a powerful impact on your business. And that's what I want to show you today. So as I said, there is this massive opportunity for you right now. And the question I want to ask you is, are you ready to take it? Are you ready to open your mind to what Facebook ads can do if you use them a little bit differently to how most struggling entrepreneurs are approaching them? So I'd love to start by just asking, where are you right now with using Facebook ads? Because it's possible that you've tried running them before and you just can't seem to grow or to scale the results you're getting, or even to get a decent result from them at all. So let me know, is that you? Is that how it feels right now? Or maybe it could be that you're just fed up spending money on ads that it seems to go down the drain. You're not getting anything back from it. You're just giving Facebook your hard-earned business cash and you're not seeing anything back. Is that you? Because I know you won't be alone if that's how you're feeling right now. But I want you to imagine that there's such a buzz and an excitement about your business, what you do, what you sell, your products, that people are asking how to buy from you. And I want you to suspend disbelief. I want you to imagine that that's the situation you find yourself in, because this is what successful entrepreneurs are achieving with Facebook ads. And what if you could increase your sales for your business and lower your advertising costs at the same time? What would that do to your business if you could achieve that? So the question really is, how do you get there? How do you get from struggling to see a return from your Facebook ads to increasing your sales and doing it at lower cost? And that's what I really want to come on to cover with you now. So it's important to recognize that in 2020, more than ever before, people are craving connection. And a lot of that is due to the pandemic and being in our little bubbles, being at home much more, stuck with our families and the same faces all the time, or maybe no faces at all. We're reaching out and wanting that connection, and we're getting it through Facebook. We're on Facebook and its family of apps to find that connection and to talk to our family, talk to our relatives, talk to our friends. And as I said earlier, to be entertained, to be inspired. And not just by our family and friends, but also from the brands and the businesses that we have an affinity to like and to follow. And if we actually look at the numbers, there are 2.36 billion people active daily on one of Facebook's apps. So that's not just Facebook. When you run Facebook ads, you can also serve your ads on WhatsApp, you can serve them on Instagram, you can serve them on Facebook itself, and it has a partner family of websites and sites across the internet that you can also use to put your ads in front of. So there's a massive opportunity here as well to reach 2.36 billion people. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure, Liz, if my audience are on Facebook, I would say to you, really? 2.36 billion people? Are you telling me that none of your audience is part of that? I think they are. They're just there and you need to know how to find them and connect with them. So that connection that people are craving, that connection they're seeking on social media is important to understand, because it's that connection and trust that if you can build it, is essential to sales. It's essential to people wanting to buy from you and not your competitors. And it's that connection that the successful entrepreneurs who are crushing it online are building before they ask for the sale. And that's what I want to help you do as well. Now, it doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter what niche you serve. When we look at how people purchase online and in real life as well, if there were 100 people interested in making a purchase from you, statistics show that 50% of them would buy from you in the first 18 months. And of that 50%, so that's 50 people, 15% of them would buy within the first 90 days. So it's that tiny little section down there in the bottom are the people that in general we focus on. We serve our ads hoping to get that quick fix, that quick short-term sale, people who will buy now or within the first 90 days. But it's only 15% of the people who are interested in our business and what we do. So what if we could focus on the other 85% instead? What if we could use Facebook ads to reach them before they're ready to make that purchasing decision and encourage them to have an affinity with our brands and our businesses and to nurture them and connect with them so that when they are ready to make a purchase, there's only one place they're going to go, and that's you. What if we shift our focus from that 15% to the 85%, as well as keeping our attention on the 15% as well? But we're going to look at the bigger pool and the bigger opportunity and use Facebook ads to reach them. So I want to just paint a scenario for you about what happens when we don't focus on that 85% and we don't play in and tap into that connection that people are craving. So hands up if you've had this kind of phone call recently. Phone goes, you pick it up and you hear those immortal words, "Did you have an accident recently?" Or, "I'm contacting because I know you had an accident in the last 2 to 3 years." How do you feel in the moment you hear those words? I'd love for you to tell me. I'm willing to bet that you're not best pleased. Most of you, if you're anything like me, will put the phone down. You might be politer than that. You might say, "Thank you very much, but no, I haven't had an accident." Or even if you have, you're not interested. Because what are they phoning you for? Are they caring about you? Are they bothered or interested in whether you have had an accident or not? No. They're cold calling, they're prospecting to try to get you to buy into some kind of compensation claims service. So they're really contacting people. They haven't taken the time to know if you've had an accident or not. They haven't taken the time to know whether this is something you might need. And they haven't taken the time to see if you would care. There is no connection whatsoever. It's a cold call. And you don't need me to tell you what most of us think about cold calling. But if that's how we feel about cold calling on the telephone, why is it that so many of us put the Facebook ad equivalent out when we're promoting something? We go for the cold sale. And here's an example of that and what happens when you do. So this is Lane Bryant, who sell a very high quality, high-end brand of clothing. And they decided that they would promote their latest collection to a cold audience on Facebook with an ad that had never heard of them. Didn't have a clue who Lane Bryant were. And that might be you right now. You might be going, who are they? Now, in the main, their clothing is expensive. And what people were finding when they looked at the collection, it was, whoa, I can't afford that. So straight away, we've got a disconnect. They're serving their ads to people who are not in the income category that are most likely to have an affinity with the brand and want their quality of clothing. So they missed the mark. Their targeting was not right. They hadn't done their research. They weren't connecting with their customers. And actually what happened, there was a backlash. And you can see from some of these comments that they were getting slated about the price of their clothing because people didn't have a sense of how much quality was involved. They didn't have a sense of what the brand was like, and they didn't have any connection. So it had an adverse effect on their brand affinity. And it certainly had an adverse effect on the level of sales they made by making this ad, because it was a cold pitch. So the question is, how can you build that connection that people are seeking with your Facebook ads? How can you move away from just doing overt promotions, asking people who don't know who you are to buy your stuff and create the connection instead? Looking at that 85% of people instead of the 15%. And the best way to do that is to be remarkable. And I'd love to give you an example of this from my own personal life, because if you'd met me back at the age of 13, the most trendy thing that all the kids at school were wearing was a snorkel jacket. If you don't know what a snorkel jacket is, if I'm aging myself here, this is one here. You might know it's a parka jacket. But in the main, all my friends, all the people at school were wearing blue or green snorkel jackets. And I wanted one. I wanted to fit in. So I asked my mum for a snorkel jacket. And love her, she went and she bought me one. She bought me a red one. Now, I can safely say, and you can imagine this, I was the only kid at school with a red snorkel jacket. So I stood out. I might not want to stand out in the way that I did, but I stood out. I was noticed. I was recognised. Even though essentially I was wearing the same thing as all the other kids. I was doing the same thing as they were. I was wearing a snorkel jacket. But because mine was red, I stood out. And that's what you need to do with your Facebook ads. That little degree of difference in doing what might look like it's the same as everybody else. When you do it that little bit differently, you stand out and your business stands out too. And that little degree of difference is building connection and not going for the sale. And a great way to do that is to use video. So I want to give you an example here of a brand that is doing this beautifully. And this advert here from Red Bull, you can see is just a square format video. It's of a motorcyclist doing stunts. There is no mention of Red Bull. They are not selling Red Bull, but this is an advert. They are sending this out to their target audience. How does this work? Well, it's very simple. Red Bull knows that their audience in the main are thrill seekers. They want excitement. So what they're doing is they're serving them content on their Facebook page and on their social media sites that plays to that need for excitement and that thrill seeking. So their audience love these videos, and you can see in the screenshot there was 1,000 people just liked or interacted with this post on their Facebook page. Now there were 74 comments, 123 shares, 260,000 views of that one video. Now I want to ask you, what would that do for your business if you had 260,000 people watching a video you put on your Facebook page? Not only will it build an audience of people who are interested in what you've got to say, but it also means that your page is seen as engaging and thriving by Facebook. And that helps lower your ad costs when you promote the content on your page. So using video is a powerful way to do that because we process the information in a video thousands of times faster than any other form of content. And Red Bull do this beautifully. So think about, what could you do? What could you showcase in a video that isn't your product? It isn't what you have to sell, but that plays to who your audience is and what they want to consume on social media. The other thing to do is to use live video. Again, putting it on your Facebook page, putting it on Instagram, and then turning it into an ad, which I'm going to talk about in just a little minute. These live videos are again very powerful at creating connection because it's the next best thing to being live in a room with someone in person. They see your body language, they hear your tone of voice, and they make an instant connection with you and an instant judgment of whether they do or don't like you. They do or don't like your brand. And that polarization is so crucial to your success because the people who decide they do like you, you're starting to build up loyalty. You're starting to capture their interest in your business. And it means when you do put a sale to them, they're more likely to buy. The third thing you can use are stories. Now, I don't mean writing a book. I don't mean telling a story. What I mean is using Facebook stories, Instagram stories, and Messenger stories, which are just full screen immersive experiences that you create that only last for 24 hours. And using video stories is also another powerful way to put your brand message across. So in this example, Beyond Yoga did a series of little stories where they showed someone doing yoga and exercising while wearing their clothing. So they weren't saying, come and buy our clothes. They weren't saying how great they were. They were just letting viewers see how amazing their product was through the stories. So they could see that they were flexible. They could see that the clothing was colorful. They could see that it was comfortable. And that created interest. That created brand affinity. And that led to them having the biggest surge in sales they'd ever experienced that was directly attributable to these story ads. So these are powerful ways to build connection with your audience without actually asking them for the sale. So once you've put that content out, how do you turn it into an ad? How do you promote it? And the most powerful way to do this is to turn it into an engagement ad. Now, these are the simplest kind of ads for you to run, and this is why it's something that any business can do right now. It's also something that is particularly powerful right now during the pandemic when you're maybe being conservative with costs, because engagement ads do not have to involve a great amount of ad spend. You can start to build connection with your audience and keep yourself top of mind with them while we go through the pandemic, so that when we come out of things again, when there's more disposable income around and people want a right to make a buying decision, you're the only person they're going to go to. So the first thing to do is you put the content on your Facebook page or on Instagram, leave it 24 hours, and then go into Ads Manager and you want to turn it into an ad. Then all you do is in Ads Manager at the campaign objective level, you choose an engagement objective as your main campaign objective. Next, we go to ad set level, and this is where you set your audience, who you want to target, how much you want to spend on the ad, which doesn't need to be a lot for an engagement ad, and I'll show you that in a moment, and where you want the ad to show up. So remember I said that Facebook is not just about Facebook ads, it's about WhatsApp, it's about Instagram, it's about Messenger, it's about putting your ad across the internet using Facebook ads. So you get to decide where you want that ad to show up. And then at ad level, this is where you create the ad itself. And you don't need to write one because you've already got it on your page. We're using the post on your page, choosing existing post, and then selecting that post on your page as the ad creative itself. And once you've done that, you send it off to Facebook, it hopefully gets approved, and your ad will start to run. Now, this is typically what we call a top of funnel ad. And as I say, the key here is to focus on video content to create that all important connection, because that will attract in a new audience for your business. And then you can create a custom audience inside Ads Manager of the people who are watching those videos. And you can see in this screenshot below of an actual ad that ran, it only cost 3 cents to get someone to watch a video that was on a Facebook page. And it built an audience of nearly 139,000 people watching that video, captured in an audience that you can then serve other ads to further down your sales process and journey. Now, I would love to know, ask yourself, what would that do for your business if in the next week you could have an audience of your products, of what you do, of 139,000 people? Imagine being able to create connection with that amount of people and then ask them if they want to buy from you after you've created that connection. What would that do to your sales? And how long would it take you to find 138,000 people interested in you and your business by any other means and at as low a cost? It's just not possible. And this is why Facebook ads are so powerful. Just using simple engagement ads at low cost for any type of business, but serving interesting content to your audience to build that all important connection. So here's what we've covered today. We've looked at the massive opportunity there is for you to use Facebook engagement ads today to keep your business profitable and visible and top of mind, even while we go through difficult times. We've also looked at how you can use content on your Facebook page and on Instagram to connect with the right people at the right time, and why that connection is so important. It's what people are craving right now. But so few advertisers are tapping into this, but the successful ones are. We've also looked at how to use Facebook engagement ads to build your brand loyalty, to build connection, and build a fan base of people who love what you do while we go through these difficult times, so that you're ready when we come out of it to make sales from them. So I would also love to connect with you, but I want you to really, if you take nothing else from this class today, is to think about creating connection with your audience before you go for the transaction. Don't go for the short-term sale. Focus on the long-term connection and the extra sales that will give you just by creating engagement and connection and trust with your audience. So I would love to connect with you too. And here's where you'll find me on Facebook, on Instagram, my podcast. And if you want to know more about learning about Facebook ads, my own Ads on Fire signature program is at lizmelville.com, Ads on Fire. Thank you very much for listening and best of luck with your ads.